Good morning and welcome to this morning's service. I'm Joan Ito and I will be your chairperson this morning. We will begin with the morning with the holding of the Kansho, followed by the chanting of Butsu Ge. I'd also like to introduce and welcome our guests, Eileen, Grace, Carolyn, and Lainey from Marymount High School. Thank you very much for being here.
Sometimes when Dharma schools meetings, we say yes. So
Either way, I said something. It's all good. We'll follow where you start. We will continue this morning's service with the golden chain, which is on page 6 of the ground service book. I am a link, and I lead as a golden chain of love that stretches around the world. I must keep my link bright and strong. I will be kind and gentle to every living thing and protect all who are weaker than myself. I will think pure and beautiful thoughts, say pure and beautiful words, and do pure and beautiful deeds. May everything in me as a golden chain of love be bright and strong, and may we all attain perfect peace. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Our Gatha this morning is Tsukigadeta, which is on page 67 of the ground service book. Please stand. Reverend Kory will now lead us in the reading of Sankyamon and the Three Treasures.
Sankyamon. 隣人受けがたし、今すでに聞く。仏法聞きがたし、今すでに聞く。この身根性に向かっての進んば、さらにいずれの章に向かって過去の明道線。来週ものともに、指針に三毛に形し立て祭るべし。自ら仏に形し立てまする。まさに願わくは仕事とともに、大道を体現して無常に起こさん。自ら法に形し立て祭る。まさに願わくは仕事とともに、不覚共存に知恵のごとくならん。自らそうに形し立てまする。まさに願わくは仕事とともに、大衆を通りして一切の芸ならん。無常人事のの方は、 約千万号にもあよことかたし、我ら今検問し、受事することはなり、願わくは如来の真実義を下し立てまつらん。The three treasures. Hard is it to be born into human life. Now we are living it. Difficult it is to hear the teachings of the Blessed One. Now we hear it. If we do not deliver ourselves in the present life, no hope is there that we shall be free from suffering and sorrow in the ocean of birth and death. Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I put my faith in Buddha. When we all together absorb into ourselves the principle of thy way to enlightenment, and awaken in ourselves thy supreme will. I put my faith in Dharma. When we all together be submerged in the depth of the doctrine, and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. I put my faith in Sangha. When we all together become unison in true accord, and the life of harmony, in the spirit of universal humility, free from the bondage of selfishness. Even through ages of myriads of cults, hard is it to hear such an excellent, profound, and wonderful doctrine. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of Tathagata's teaching. Namo Amida Butsu. 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 Namo Amida Butsu.
Please be seated. We will now have our Dharma message read by Reverend Kory.
Kansho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming to this morning's service. But a special thank you for coming. Special thank you for coming to this morning's service. The reason I'm giving this message because you're here today. Well, yeah, because you're here today, especially. Let me explain why. So, this last Tuesday, I thought of this because I happened to go to one of our junior Y members' basketball games. They had a tournament in Redondo Beach, and so I went, and I sit down at the end, waiting for the next game, of course. With my kids, and who's there but Reverend Marv. So Reverend Marv is the bishop of our sect of Buddhism in the United States, or Buddhist Churches of America. So Reverend Marv and his wife are sitting there. They're watching North High School's game because his daughter is an assistant coach. His daughter's not even playing; she's an assistant coach. I think it's really wonderful. He's watching her game. But we're talking, and he goes, how's it going? And he goes, oh, do you have service this Sunday? I said, yeah. He said, other temples don't. I can't see it on Zoom, but well, I did, but I didn't say which ones. And did you see where I said plural? Well, because the one he's talking about, I knew about already, and I heard from another family member that they're not having service either. So if you know where, so I said, wow. Because I realized this is the first year's weekend, Thanksgiving, I haven't had a service here at the temple for on a Saturday or a Friday. I even did, during COVID, I did funerals on a Saturday for Mr. Hironoguchi. And that's why I started thinking, as Thanksgiving goes, to be thankful for the roots of it, just to be thankful for the life that we're living in this moment, for what we've been able to receive. This is what our Jodo Shinshu religion is really about. And then to make sure it's family oriented, why not have memorial services on this weekend? To really pay our tributes and appreciation for those past family members. And to realize that the ones that are still with us are the most important things in our lives. Now I know not all family members or families are like that. I do that to myself too. But we have to remind ourselves of the value of being able to spend time together, no matter who we are. That's why we come to temple. This moment is the most important moment, and we should appreciate being able to share our lives together. So I always commend those families that do come on this weekend, even more so. Because even ministers in our sect, don't they know that don't they know that this is a holiday weekend or something like that? And yes, isn't it wonderful? So I started thinking, in 2 weeks, or next weekend we're having our Mochitsuki, and we don't have service on Sunday because the temple will be all masked up. We've already started plastiking a lot of things downstairs, and most temples will be celebrating Butsu Ge, the day that Shakyamuni Buddha sat under the Bodhi tree and became enlightened. And many of you have heard this story of our tree. Not our tree anymore. It's at LMU, and we're still trying to dedicate it. It's on their campus right now, but hopefully in the next couple months, or it was supposed to be this week or next 2 weeks. Well, it's supposed to be last week, but it's been postponed like 4 times, but at least it's on the campus. It's a visible and physical reminder of the traditional Buddhist teaching, the Buddhist traditional teaching of Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, or enlightenment itself, the first turning of the wheel. Now, you could say, well, that's not the original Bodhi tree, even though it's a relative or generational relative of the original. That's okay. Because even if you go to Bodh Gaya, where the site is, that's not the original tree either. Yeah. Well, so we should be thankful for even the existence of the site or Buddhism in those areas. One major person is King Asoka. Some of us know about King Asoka. He lived in 268 BCE, when he inherited his empire, his Mangadan empire. Now imagine the expanse was the northern part of India all the way, and then leaving just the southern part not his. No cars, no electronics. Communication is truly limited, right? Because they had to deliver communication verbally. And yet he had this whole empire. Within the first 8 years of his I guess, kingship, he conquers the Kalinga Empire. 100,000 deported. Says 150,000 people deported and 100,000 killed. And many more people dead through this conquest of the Kalinga Empire. Imagine that. It's hard for us to imagine that many people in our lifetime, that many people. I mean, we had World War II. This is one nation that's done this. Or even the other wars too. So that effect of killing, he looks at it and he has remorse. He has remorse. He becomes a Buddhist follower. There's a writing where it says, when King Asoka had been consecrated, Kalinga was conquered with 150,000 people, deported, 100,000 killed. Many times that number dead. But after the conquest, began the following the Dharma, to love the Dharma, and to teach the Dharma. Now the king feels sorrow over the conquest of Kalinga. He is depressed, even more because among the inhabitants were Brahmins, ascetics, adherents, and other sects, and lay people, all of whom were obedient to elders, parents, and teachers, who treated others with respect and were firm in their faith. All of these people were injured or killed or separated from loved ones. The fact that all people share in this suffering is grievous to the king. Indeed, he desires safety, self-control, calmness of mind, and gentleness for all beings. For King Asoka considers the Dharma quest to be the greatest form of conquest. This kind of conquest he has won here in India and in all the borderlands up to 600 leagues away. This inscription about the Dharma engraved so that all his sons and grandsons may not seek to gain new conquests, that they may consider the only true conquest to be the conquest of the Dharma, which is of value both in this world and the next, and that their only pleasure may be in the Dharma. So this is written on the 13th rock edict. It said that he built stupas and stones to mark the Dharma. Well, these stone edict, these stones and inscribed these different edicts on these stones. But he also made stupas too. Now, stupas, I guess are burial headstones, anyway. They're big, huge things that have kept relics of the Buddha, the historical Buddha inside. It could be could be ash, or bone, or other items. Now, what I've been able to find is that he built 84,000 of them within India, of these stupas. How many stupas do you think you could build in your lifetime? starting now. Now, of course, in Japan, we see these stupas as pagodas, right? And China as well. Maybe turned into those types of things. But think about that influence. Can we feel grateful for King Asoka's efforts or works, even over 2,000 years ago? Now, as I said, I mentioned the tree. The tree was it's been burnt down a couple times. It's died. In his lifetime, even to the point where the story is that the tree was burnt down due to a jealous wife. Well, if the Dharma meant that much to you, there might be some people that think that it's taking too much of your time. And so the tree was burnt at least once in his lifetime. And he was able to pull the tree, they were spreading Bodhi trees around, so he was able to bring that tree back and put it back in that site. As I've shared to you, there's so many people that visit this location that they walk on the ground with like candles, and even though they're paying their respects to the tree is actually dying slowly due to the weight of all of the footsteps, chopping roots, and things like that. We should do another message on the whole guy again, so we should look at pictures. But I wanted to say that, as I said, isn't it wonderful that we can come here today and think about these things? We think about the people that have been able to give us the opportunity to hear the Buddhist teachings. We think about the friends that have gone before us. I wanted to end a little bit with, if he could create or change his country to change not just the religious nature of no more animal sacrifices or change the values to understanding generosity, mercy, trustfulness, respect for elders and teachers, all these Buddhist virtues. Solidify what the Dharma really is through the Third Council, or even to respect all religions, saying that they're all important, they all contribute, and they all give respect to each other, religious tolerance. What can we do? Anyways, there was another passage I read. It says on the 12th rock, King Asoka honors members of all religious sects, whether ascetic or lay, by gifts of honors. But more important than gifts and honors is his support of essential message of all sects. The essential message varies from sect to sect. One should keep in check praising one's own sect and criticizing another's. Well, that doesn't make sense to me now. Oh yeah, keep in check praising one's own sect and criticizing another sect, yes. By doing so, one strengthens one's own sect and helps others too. Whoever honors his own sect and disparages another's, whether from blind loyalty or intending to show their sect in a more favorable light, does the greatest harm to their own sect. Concord is is best where each person listens to and respects the teachings of others. The result is the progress of one's own sect and the illumination of the Dharma. So as we think about those moments that bring us to the temple, we could even respect what already has been in place even before we're born. I end with this thought. A couple of years ago, for a Taikyo service, some of you might remember we had a video message from our Dharma friend, Mr. Rick Stample. Do you remember? And he didn't share what I asked him to. Recently he passed away. Some of our members didn't know. But he made me think about a lot of things when he gave this message at National Council. He talked about him being the grandson of a carpenter, and how his mother was sent to a family to live because they were so poor. And it turned out that this family was a Japanese family. And so they helped to raise her. And then as she got older, she was able to actually have him and teach him tolerance of others. This is how he noted that this was his beginning of the respect for not only his life, but all those around him, no matter who they were. His civil rights works stem from that. But he also talked about how his young daughter passed away, how his first marriage didn't work out, and he started to search again and came across our temples. Many of us remember him dancing Quon dances in his Gatha with others, great livelihood. That's where I remember him at Nishi growing up and other Obons. But he also got involved with the BCA as West LA and Southern District and BCA. But again, when I heard his story of how he started, I said, gee, that's when I started thinking, when did you first meet a Buddha in your life? When did your life, how do you mark when your life changed? And how did those moments in your life guide you to the temple to find Jodo Shinshu, to find the Buddhist efforts, and then the Nembutsu path? They don't have to be religious stories like what he did, or the efforts of Asoka and what he did in his lifetime. Even though we can have great appreciation for those physical things that we have, just like those. But even in our everyday life, as we come for Thanksgiving, to think about our Dharma family, we're awakened to this appreciation of again, when we ask each other, who was the first Buddha that awakened you to this impermanent life, to the value of life? Or how did you come to walk by the temple, hear the chanting, or even realize Nembutsu isn't just a phrase we say, but it means to think, contemplate, listen to the Buddha. And then with that, please join me in Gassho. To those that are here today, seeing how Mochitsuki is, well, not because Mochitsuki is coming up, But because you came this weekend, if anyone wants to have a Bodhi tree because of Ahsoka's efforts, I'm willing to give you one today. You should get a little something for Thanksgiving at least. So, if you want, come see me. And then, otherwise, please join me in Kansho, right? Namo Amida Butsu.
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 Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sensei, for your message. Reverend Kory will now lead us in the reading of the Loku Haramitsu and the 6 Paramitas, which are on page 4 and 5 of Ground Service. Please stand.
Loku Haramitsu. 御仏様の御心に立ち返らせていただいて、一つよい一日、清らかな眼温かい情け、つつましやかな対応で暮らしましょう。一つよい一日、あなたを立てますまい。一つよい一日、不平不足嘘を申しますまい。一つよい一日、私の仕事に全身全力をかけて尽くさせていただきましょう。一つよい一日、夜日すでに私のこの相撲を身元のものを喜ばせていただきましょう。一つよい一日、南無阿弥陀仏を唱えさせていただきましょう。Six Paramitas, turning our thoughts to the Buddha. Let us throughout the day live with clear eyes, warm hearts, and humble attitudes. Let us throughout the day not become angry. Let us throughout the day not utter words of discontent, dissatisfaction, and untruth. Let us throughout the day do our daily work with all our power. Let us throughout the day rejoice in the love and compassion of the Buddha, who is constantly watching over us day and night. Let us throughout the day repeat the holy name, Namo Amida Butsu. Promise. The Buddha is our eternal Father and Mother. The Buddha always keeps watch over us. We promise to listen to the teachings of the Buddha and perfect ourselves by following the Buddha's ideas. Namo Amida Butsu. 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 Namo Amida Butsu.
Please be seated. Are there any announcements?
Good morning. Just another little reminder about our visit to KI on Monday, December 29th. We'll be meeting here at 8:30 in the morning and rehearsing the songs, and then we'll go over there and perform and give the residents our homemade calendars and our mochi. I'm going to be talking to all the youth group leaders to get a sense of how many are going, getting the numbers. So I'll be in contact either on or before Mochitsuki. And if your child would like to go, but is not part of one of the youth groups, but you can see one of the Dharma School staff, and please let us know. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Today is the last film in our annual film festival. The movie is Lucy Albrock. The theme this year is Occupation and Resistance. And this is based on a true story about an educator, a school teacher, Lucy Albrock, who saved her husband after he'd been arrested by the Gestapo during the occupation of France. And that movie starts at 11:30. So if you're here, please come and enjoy it.
I'm Phyllis Hirschbottom. I'm a member of the Butsu Ge, or Buddhist Women's Association. The Buddhist Women's Association is having its year-end Morning Kai luncheon on Saturday, December the 13th at the temple. It'll start about 11:30. And our deadline for ordering or RSVPing and ordering your bento from Yamasushi, we have 3 selections. It's Friday, so Friday, December the 5th. So that Yamasushi has time to prepare order. So please let us know if you can come, and which of the 3 selections. There's a veggie option as well. We'd like us to order for you. Thank you. And it's on the BSWA. As a thank you to all the work that Butsu Ge and the Friends of Butsu Ge have done for us this past year.
Good morning, everyone. This Saturday is Mochisuki, and you can come out to help, starting at 7 a.m., so it'd be great if you come out. The deadline for ordering is today, so please get your order in. As Cecily mentioned, following Sunday is our stable Taikai service at 10 o'clock. And also, the 2026 Winter Pacific Seminar. It's Shin Buddhism and Artificial Intelligence. That will be at Nishi. And the deadline to RSVP or register is January 11th. And if you'd like to do so, please see Julia there.
We will conclude this morning with the Gatha Sayonara and the reading of Benediction. Sayonara is on page 62 of the Brown Service Book. Benediction. May all beings in the path of existence, suffering from disasters, be released of their afflictions. May all beings in the world who receive benefits share in the merit. May the state continue in peaceful prosperity, with all its warlike activities stopped. May the winds blow in time, the rain fall seasonably, and the people live happily. May the entire congregation sharing in this service cherish the highest aspiration, to attain enlightenment and without too much difficulty. May this church keep on its peaceful life, free from disturbances, and the congregation grow, not only in faith, but in wisdom and bliss. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you for attending this morning's service. We will now have our Project Bonbu time for November. Then you are welcome to stay for a study class led by Richard Modiano. Refreshments will be served downstairs following the study class.
Okay, this is our Project Bonbu drawing, and the winner this month will receive 5 points. So, to be now.
Please join me in Gatha. Namo Amida. First, I want to congratulate our chairperson for correctly pronouncing Paramita. So, well, there are lots of things to be said about Reverend Kory's Dharma talk. Might be worth talking about Emperor Ashoka, who's a major figure in the history of Buddhism. Sensei mentioned the rock inscriptions. They're actually on pillars, and I think 10 of the pillars still survive. And these pillars were situated throughout his empire in northern India. And they were placed, I forget the distance that they were placed from each other, but I believe it was like a day's travel, something like that. And on these pillars, Sensei read out one of the messages on the pillars. And the pillars had quotations from the Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha, as well as the Emperor's own words. So these are the quotations from Shakyamuni Buddha are the earliest on these pillars, are the earliest written down words of the Buddha. This was before the sutras were written down. They were still recited orally by that time. We're talking about roughly 200 years after Shakyamuni Buddha's nirvana. So these the phrases of the Buddha that exist on these pillars were collected in one of the earliest Buddhist sutras called the Dhammapada. Dhamma is the Pali language, which is related to Sanskrit. So in Sanskrit would be Dharmapada. So they say Dhamma and in Sanskrit it's Dharma. So we know that it's Dharma. And there is a division of Buddhist sutras into the two languages, the Pali scriptures and the Sanskrit scriptures. The Pali scriptures were used by Theravada Buddhists, which is the sole surviving sect of the Buddhist schools that existed prior to the Mahayana, which our school belongs to. The Mahayana being a great vehicle. And in previous decades, during the time when the Mahayana was arising, for polemical reasons, they referred to all of the previous schools as Iniyana, which is the narrow or small school, because it was confined to monks and nuns. The Sangha was restricted to people who had taken vows who had taken vows as monks or nuns. Lay people were not considered part of the Sangha. In the Mahayana, lay people are considered part of the Sangha. And this is of particular significance for Jodo Shinshu, because this is a lay organization. Although Reverend Kory is a priest, he is really a layman. He is not taking monkish vows at all. And nor do Jodo Shinshu ministers represent themselves as spiritually advanced in any way. They are merely lay people who set aside careers and other things so that they can devote themselves to transmitting the Dharma to the rest of us. And that's what makes them special, is they decided that he was talking about, Rick Stamble, for example, who's never a minister. He was at one time president of BCA, some of you may remember that. He is an example of a layman who led a group whose life was devoted to building a career and so on. Jodo Shinshu priests put that aside just for the sake of teaching the Dharma to the rest of us, or preserving the Dharma, would be a better way of putting it. So they make a sacrifice. There's a certain sacrifice. You could lead a better life, making more money. And it's worth also noting that in the earlier days, most Jodo Shinshu ministers had day jobs as well. For example, Reverend Kanmoni Iwamura, who later became the Bishop of Hawaii, when he was the resident priest at the Berkeley Buddhist Temple, he worked at UC Berkeley as a librarian. So he would go from his librarian job at UC Berkeley to the temple to minister at the temple. And I don't think he was paid for doing that at that time. This was we're talking about the late 1940s throughout the 1950s up to the early 60s. And then in 1967, he was transferred to Hawaii where he became bishop. So that's another interesting detail about Jodo Shinshu in the United States. Its existence was basically due to a number of people who sacrificed something of their own to preserve the Dharma. And if you recall, also when Sensei administers, when new officers come in, one of the phrases that is used in sort of taking your oath is, are you willing to sacrifice some of your time in order to fulfill your obligations as an officer of the temple? So that's part of also the maintenance of Jodo Shinshu temples, because we lay people give up something in order to make sure that the temple continues to exist, and that the Dharma is available for all of the members of the Sangha and anybody who may have an interest in Buddhism. So it's here because of all of the things, all of the sacrifices that are made by temple members in one way or another. And by the way, these sacrifices are not painful sacrifices, really, because they're done out of joy, in a way. I mean, we're going to have Mochizuki next week. It starts at 7 a.m. on Saturday. A lot of people like to sleep in on Saturday morning. But I can guarantee that a lot of people will be there for Mochizuki because, well, that's a sacrifice that people like to make. It's fun doing it. So, returning to Ashoka, what is significant is that although he was personally a Buddhist, he did not make Buddhism the state religion of his empire. He tolerated the existence of all other religions within his empire, which is usually not the case. Most famously in England, when Henry VIII, England was a Roman Catholic country, and Henry VIII wanted to divorce one of his wives, and the church would not allow it. It was against Roman Catholic doctrine. So he said, okay, we're not part of the Catholic Church anymore. We're part of the Church of England, and I'm the head of the Church of England, and I therefore grant myself a divorce. By the way, we're seizing all of the monasteries, all of the priests, you either declare you're loyal to me or you're dead, basically. So, and that became the state religion of England, which caused all kinds of religious conflict down the line. And that's something that happens whenever there is a combination of the state and religion. And that's why the founders of the United States insisted on the separation of church and state, because they recognized that if you have a state religion, because religion is also a matter of conscience. Not everybody is going to go along with it. Not everybody is going to believe in that particular dispensation that is authorized by the state. People may not have any religious belief at all. But nonetheless, if the state says you must believe, and you don't, if you don't believe in the state religion at all, you're in trouble. And it causes social conflict. So that's why the people that founded the founding fathers, as we call them, insisted on the separation of church and state. They recognized that religion is a matter of individual conscience, and that You could not have a truly functioning society with a state religion. And that truth has been borne out, because any country that doesn't have that generally has a big police apparatus to essentially police what you were thinking. So you have like a thought police. And we are free of that. And that is why, and that's also part of the Buddhism. That's particularly Joan Ito. This is not a religion where we go out and try to convert people. We don't knock on doors and say, have you heard about the Buddha? If anybody takes an interest in Buddhism, so much the better. And we tell them about it. For example, I wear this mala, which was something that Reverend Imamura, which was how I became connected to Joan Ito Buddhism, was when I was a student at the University of Hawaii and I went to classes that he was giving. And he mentioned that I wear this mala as a reminder, which is not something that you have to do, but he said, I have this mala on my left wrist all the time, and it reminds me of the Nembutsu, to be grateful. And it also is a sort of an entree for people to say, why do you wear that bracelet? What is that about? So this is a mala. It's a sort of a Buddhist rosary. And I say, oh, are you a Buddhist? What does that entail? And you can tell people, if they inquire of you, you are free to tell them about your beliefs, your religious beliefs. But you don't say, hey, look, I'm wearing this mala. You know what that means? It means I'm a Buddhist. Have you heard about the Buddha? It's not a religion of proselytization, it's a religion of example. And particularly Joan Ito's religion of example. So, and that goes back to the example that was set by Ashoka. He could easily, because he commanded the armed forces, he could say, I'm a Buddhist, Buddhism is a state religion, everybody has to be a Buddhist. You convert or get out, or convert or die, in some cases. He didn't do that, because that's not part of the Buddha Dharma. The Buddha Dharma is promulgated by example. So he set this particular example by not insisting on conversion of the people of his subjects. You can continue to follow your own religion. So, and that example comes down to us. Any questions? Thanks for coming, and if you have time, stick around for the movie, because it's a good movie. Anyway, thanks again for coming. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo